Australia's top cyber spy has issued a warning over the accelerating rate of domestic security threats. The Australian Signals Directorate boss, Rachel Noble, claims criminal gangs are increasing the severity of attacks as a cyber incident is reported every 8 minutes. Defence Minister Peter Dutton will announce 3 new ASD facilities in Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth, which will be built for more than 800 cyber spies. This is after record investment was announced in the federal budget and will double the agency's workforce by 2027. Joining me live now is CyberCX Cyber Intelligence Director Catherine Manstead. Catherine, thanks so much for your time. A $9.9 billion investment in the budget. It is also the first time I've seen in any budget where the government talked about offensive rather than defensive capabilities. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. This is a pretty it's a landmark investment and also really quite a detailed description in the budget papers about how ASD plans to use that $9.9 billion over the next 10 years. As you said, adding 1,900 new staff to ASD. And the headline of all of this is it will treble ASD's offensive cyber capabilities, which we've only disclosed for a couple of years that we do have those offensive cyber capabilities. ASD is out there talking more and more about how we use them to advance Australia's interests and protect Australia's national security. But absolutely, it's a pretty landmark moment for ASD. Of course, ASD is celebrating its 70th anniversary this week as well. So it's a red letter day for ASD with the announcement of this Red Spice package.
Yeah, red letter day. That, as I said to Tom Seymour, that acronym was doing a lot of work to try and get there. I felt like they found the tagline first before they made the letters fit. But look, it is really important when we talk about cyber activity and cyber attacks. This is something that really speaks to the Australian public, whether they have been targeted by one or not. It's something that is a real and present danger in everyday life now. How common are they, not just towards government, but business? And do they go unreported mostly?
That's a really astute observation. So as the Director General of ASD mentioned, you were speaking about, every 8 minutes there is a report of a cyber incident to the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, part of ASD. We know that cyber incidents are also systematically underreported. When you experience a cyber incident, whether you're an individual or a company, this is often the worst day of your life, and reporting that into the government may not be front and centre. We also have a culture in this country of shaming the victims of cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are inevitable almost in this digital age, and so sometimes those victims aren't incentivised to get up there and share what's happened with them, with the broader public and certainly with the government. But one thing it's important to note is that this Red Spice package and the investment in ASD is not just about cybersecurity. That's part of it, but the capability to do offensive cyber, that is much more connected with our broader defence capability. You can't have tanks, planes, submarines, unless you've also got these cyber capabilities.
So what does that actually mean, offensive cyber capabilities?
That's a really good question. It is a bit of one of those contested terms. Some people don't like it. Offensive cyber refers to the ability to conduct cyber operations to do a range of things. That might be understanding what your adversaries are thinking, probing into what their own capabilities are. That could be destroying or degrading adversary infrastructure. ASD's been on the public record talking about its involvement in an operation, a global operation called Glowing Symphony, for example, a couple of years ago, where ASD cyber operators had a significant win against ISIS, Daesh, where they used those offensive cyber capabilities to knock those terrorists offline for a period of time. So absolutely, it's what future warfare looks like, and we've seen this with Ukraine and Russia as well. So
we have our own hackers essentially, and we launch attacks on unfriendly nations, perhaps?
I mean, absolutely, that's part of the game. Part of the game's also, of course, protecting our own systems. So ASD's slogan is famously refers to stealing the secrets of others and protecting our own. And ASD, in that sense, is both the poacher and the gamekeeper, as it likes to refer to itself. It can go on the offence, but it also can protect us.
Are we good at it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is ASD is in its 70th year before. As I mentioned, it's our oldest intelligence agency, and we know that Australia works very closely with its Five Eyes intelligence sharing partners. It's working on developing new cyber capabilities as part of that awkwardly titled AUKUS arrangement with the UK and the US. We have really strong cyber capabilities, and we publicly talk about that. The government talks about that. Do we need to double down and do more? Absolutely, and that's partly where this budget measure is going, because our strategic environment is worsening. We've seen just last week the Defence Minister talking about the enhanced cyber capabilities of countries like China, but obviously it's not just China that plays in this space. Russia, Iran, others are big players in terms of the cyber game. And so it's right and proper that Australia should be investing more here. Of course, the challenge will be finding the workers, those with the cyber skills, to fill out those increased posts in ASD over the coming years.
Well, surely you're at the top of the list, Catherine. Who knows? Appreciate your time this morning. We'll speak soon.
Thanks, Laura.